wild boars, savage beasts of the wilderness with razor-sharp tusks, muscular builds, and terrifying destructive power. They swarmed down into the farmlands of Mississippi, tearing up fields and causing thousands of dollars in damage overnight. But even worse, they carry diseases that threaten livestock and the entire ecosystem. We couldn't stand by any longer. We had to act. The battle to reclaim our land had begun. But the question remains, can we stop this horde of monsters before it's too late? At the rendezvous point, the team quickly checked all gear and weapons. Everything was ready. Without delay, they spread out, cautiously scanning each spot and every bush, aware that danger could be lurking anywhere. After 15 minutes of eerie silence, the sound of hunting dogs echoed from the thickets, signaling the prey's location. I strained my eyes, watching for the slightest movement in the bushes ahead. There, the wild boar was dashing through the brush. Without hesitation, I raised my rifle, took aim, and fired. The boar collapsed. It had no chance to escape. After that encounter, we moved further up the mountain, where wild boars often hide. The dogs barked furiously from within the brush, and I rushed toward the sound. The barking grew louder. The prey was close. A wild boar burst out like a bolt of lightning, but I was just as fast. A thunderous shot rang out. The boar staggered, then dropped to the ground. In a thick brush, we had stationed a team to block any escape routes. It seemed they were also closing in on the prey. Under relentless pursuit by the hunting dogs, a wild boar had grown exhausted, completely surrounded. There it was. The rest was almost too easy. One clean shot, and it was over. I wasn't with the others. I moved alone, quietly making my way deeper into the forest, searching for any signs of wild boars that had slipped away. A sound echoed in the distance. It sounded like footsteps. They were getting closer, and it wasn't just one, probably more. Instinctively, I raised my rifle and took the shot without a second thought. One target down. Wild boars are cunning creatures, which is why our team never let our guard down for even a second. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from a nearby bush. The moment the target appeared, he seized the opportunity and fired a precise shot, securing another impressive trophy. Darkness began to fall, and the team was quickly tracking down the last remaining wild boars. But I stayed hidden, patiently waiting for the perfect moment. Wait, something's approaching. That familiar silhouette. I swiftly raised my rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. With each shot, another boar fell. Hunting wild boars isn't just a chase between man and beast, it's our way of protecting farmland, crops, and people from the disease and destruction these monsters bring. The harvest season is drawing near. People around here are all worried because around this time every year, wild boars start coming down from the forest and wreak havoc on the fields in just a few nights. So we decided to organize a hunt. Some prepared their guns, others brought along their packs of hunting dogs. Everyone understood clearly. If we didn't act soon, once the boars came down, all we could do was stand by and watch the crops get destroyed. We gathered at the edge of the forest. As soon as they were released, the pack of hunting dogs bolted off. Eagerly tracking the scent. It seemed they were even more impatient. The moment we heard barking, we knew the prey had been cornered. Riley was assigned to hold a position at the top of a small slope, the very spot where an entire herd of wild boars had been spotted. The dogs began driving the prey uphill from the base of the slope. As the barking grew louder, a deafening shot rang out, striking the boar. The claw still thrashed around, refusing to give up. That stubbornness only earned it 2 more bullets, after which it finally lay still on the hillside. The team began to spread out to widen the search area. I moved forward slowly, maintaining intense focus. Suddenly, a wild boar appeared right in front of me, only about 3 meters away. It hadn't even managed to react before it dropped from a precise shot. Hopefully, the next encounters will go just as smoothly.
Bu sefer tamam.
The sound of barking echoed from deep within the forest. Without hesitation, I raised my gun and pulled the trigger decisively. The gunshot momentarily silenced the barking dogs, and the boar collapsed right there in its hiding place. After several hours of hunting, the pack of dogs continued to work tirelessly and eagerly. Thanks to their efforts, we were able to quickly detect another target and take it down with clean, efficient shots. Each successful hit brought a sense of relief, because every boar taken down meant one less threat to the approaching harvest season. When the forest finally grew quiet again, we had to use GPS to locate the pack of dogs. There, they were gathered in one spot on the far side of the slope. Just as we arrived, a dark figure suddenly appeared in my sights. Instantly, a sharp gunshot rang out. The boar dropped on the spot. The golden moment lasts only seconds. That's why, once you sense signs of prey nearby, never take your finger off the trigger. As I continued sweeping the surrounding area, I stumbled upon a small stream, an ideal feeding spot for wild boars. Let's see if we find anything here, I muttered to myself, keeping a firm grip on my rifle. And sure enough, just a few minutes later, barking erupted like a blaring alarm. A pitch-black boar came charging. I was ready. Without hesitation, I raised my gun and pulled the trigger. The shot echoed through the forest walls, bringing a dramatic and intense showdown to an end. The hunt was over, and everyone was exhausted. But at least, the upcoming harvest will face one less threat. Located in the northern and northwestern regions of Arkansas, USA, the Ozark National Forest is famous for its majestic landscapes and incredibly diverse ecosystems. However, it is also a perfect haven for wild boar herds, aggressive animals that are multiplying out of control. They ravage crops, damage the land, and have become a constant threat to the lives of residents in the surrounding areas. At the break of dawn, with the early mist still hanging low, our team quickly made its way into the forest. I climbed up a hunting stand that had been set up a few days earlier, quietly raised my binoculars, and scanned the area in front of me. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared in the lens. It was heading this way. I immediately adjusted the focus, aligned my gun barrel. Just as the boar stopped and showed signs of fleeing, I pulled the trigger. Taking down these giant beasts is no easy task. It requires perfect coordination and lightning-fast reflexes from an intelligent. As soon as I reported the escaped boar, Arlo didn't hesitate for even a second. He moved straight to the intercept point we had calculated earlier. With his rifle already chambered, all it took was a single pull of the trigger. The boar instantly collapsed. Arlo and I ventured deeper into the forest. Amidst the vast wilderness, shouts echoed from various positions, putting us on high alert. There it is. A dark blur dashed past us, seemingly unafraid. But Arlo, with the composure of a seasoned hunter, swiftly raised his gun, aimed, and fired. A sharp gunshot rang through the forest, and with just one shot, the target dropped. Before we could catch our breath, two more boars suddenly burst out. They ran fast, but their fate had already been sealed. It was terrifying. 3 wild boars taken down in under a minute. Without a doubt, Arlo is the nightmare of wild boars in this forest. As we entered denser areas, we relied entirely on our pack of hunting dogs to detect the prey. The moment we heard fierce barking, the team rushed toward the source. Sure enough, a wild boar was cornered deep within a thick bush. Bang! A shot rang out, but before we could celebrate... Oh my God, that was dangerous. The wild boar suddenly charged at us. My friend was injured, but thankfully, the boar was taken down shortly after. A heart-stopping moment that showed no hunting trip is guaranteed to go smooth. Even experienced hunters can face danger at any moment. After that dangerous encounter, we gathered ourselves and quickly resumed the hunt. I quietly hid under camouflage, watching as the prey walked right into an invisible trap. A sharp crack echoed. The boar tried to flee, driven by pure survival instinct, but collapsed just a few meters later. The moment it poked its head out from the bushes, I didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. This time, we had taken back the upper hand. Just 10 minutes later, I received an order via walkie-talkie to intercept a wild boar a few dozen meters ahead. I quickly ran to the designated spot, firmly gripping my gun. I was more cautious this time, from aiming to pulling the trigger, making sure the boar was completely neutralized with no chance of counterattack. By this point, the boars had become familiar with the presence of hunters and began hiding. Even so, under relentless pursuit from the hunting dogs, they were forced out of their shelters one by one. And we didn't miss a single opportunity, taking down the prey until the very last moments of the day. You may have seen hunting videos before, but combining hunting with high-speed motorbike chases brings an entirely new level of adrenaline. This isn't just about speed or skill. It's our way of tackling the invasive menace that is the wild boar, which continues to wreak havoc on our farmlands and the lives of local people. Let the high-octane pursuit begin. After hours of tracking our target using the sharp ears of our hunting dogs, I finally pinpointed it, a massive wild boar hiding deep within a dense cornfield. My instincts told me it would bolt across a nearby dirt road, so I jumped on the motorbike and sped toward the spot. Right on cue, the beast burst out. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. The bullet sliced through the air, piercing its thick hide. The boar stumbled, staggered, then collapsed into the earth. Another hunt ended. Meanwhile, Garrick's bike was tearing across the open field in search of another target. There it was, from a distance. He spotted a lone boar desperately fleeing for its life. He hit the brakes, aimed, and fired off several rounds. But the first volley missed. It was just too far. Undeterred, Garrick circled around, cutting off its escape path. This time, with the barrel aimed squarely at its chest, the wild boar had no aim. I, too, was on the move, heading toward Garrick's position through the maze of cornfields. Suddenly, I saw it, a breathtaking chase between a boar and a pack of hunting dogs unfolding right before my eyes. I fired a few shots from a distance, but the boar kept charging. I accelerated, intercepting it just in time. The beast didn't hesitate. It lunged straight at me. Luckily, I managed to get off with a final, decisive shot before it could strike. The threat was neutralized in a good time. With multiple takedowns under our belts, both Garrick and I were fired up. Fueled by adrenaline, we raced across the endless fields, chasing any sign of movement. About 10 minutes later, luck returned. Another wild boar suddenly appeared. No time to waste, I raised my gun and fired in a split second. The quick draw worked, and the beast crumpled instantly to the ground. Using motorbikes gave us unmatched mobility, allowing us to adapt quickly and cover a wide variety of terrain. The moment we got word of another boar fleeing, we raced ahead to intercept it on a dirt path cutting through the fields. There it was. As it charged out from the brush, I squeezed off a flurry of shots. Caught off guard, the boar had no chance to react and dropped on the spot. On our way back to regroup with the rest of the team, we suddenly caught sight of a few wild boars attempting to escape. We barely had time to inspect the results when more boars charged our way. I like it! Acting on instinct, I surged forward and pulled the trigger. A perfect hit. The boar collapsed before it could react. We went on foot to chase down another boar that had just escaped. Relying on experience, I quickly spotted its location, leveled my gun, and fired several precise shots. The gunfire echoed through the trees, blending with the baying of the hounds, signaling a satisfying conclusion. And there it was. Only a lifeless black shape remained, lying still among the dry leaves. When the forest turns white with snow, wild boars descend to the fields. There's nothing left to eat in the mountains, so they tear up the grass, dig out roots, and even bite through cattle feed bags as if the land belongs to them. In just one night, they can destroy an entire season's worth of a farmer's hard work. And when that happens, hunters can't just sit still. We head out with rifles, hounds, and burning resolve in sub-zero cold. If we don't stop them, we'll be the next to lose everything. The ground was covered in white snow. The tracks of the wild boars had almost completely vanished. We brought along hunting dogs to help us track the boars more easily in these conditions. And when one of them suddenly barked loudly and dashed toward the deep forest, the hunt officially began. The hunting dog's barking echoed through the forest. I immediately scanned the area. As soon as I spotted the wild boar darting through the bushes, I quickly took position, aimed, and tracked its movement. Then I pulled the trigger. Bang! The boar collapsed the moment the shot rang out. We didn't stop. We moved to a new position where our teammate had signaled. I quickly reached the intercept point and scanned the surroundings carefully. Suddenly, a herd of wild boars burst out from the far side of the forest, charging at full speed. I raised my rifle and locked onto the lead boar. Boom. The first shot just grazed it, it got away. The second hit the next one square. It dropped on the spot. The third and fourth shots missed. The rest vanished into the trees. Just a heartbeat too slow, and everything slips away in the blink of an eye. I moved deeper in, following the tracks of the herd hiding within. Suddenly, one boar darted across my path. I raised my rifle, aimed quickly, ready to fire. The first shot missed. It kept running. I reloaded instantly and pulled the trigger again. The second shot hit, its mark the boar collapsed on the snow, unable to go any farther. I moved to another position, following the trail to track down the wild boars. Suddenly, I heard a rustling sound in the bushes. I stopped, raised my rifle, and aimed directly toward the natives. The herd burst out. I pulled the trigger. Bang! The lead boar collapsed. These wild boars are incredibly fast. Landing a shot isn't easy. But we can't afford to hold back, not when farmland and livestock pens are being destroyed. As night began to fall, we knew we had to take down the remaining boars before losing their trail. While moving through the forest, I spotted a dark figure darting straight toward me. I got into position, finger tight on the trigger, waiting for the shot. When it emerged from the trees with nothing left to shield it, I fired immediately. The first two shots missed. It kept charging. I stayed calm and lined up the third shot carefully. The bullet struck it right in the neck. The boar collapsed, unable to run any farther. On the way out of the forest, just as I passed a thick bush, I caught sight of a wild boar's shadow peeking through. I immediately stepped in to block its path, raised my rifle, and aimed carefully. Hunting wild boars isn't just a passion, it's about protecting the land, the livestock, and preventing local farmers from losing everything overnight.